Car Cost Canada provides the dealer's cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get access to exclusive and powerful savings. The link is in the description below. Well, it's very exciting for Chevrolet to have a mid-engine Corvette. This is the C8, and I'm lucky because I'm in Nevada for 2 days getting a chance to drive this on the road and the track. So we got here to Las Vegas, and right away they put us in the new C8 and said, you're going out into the countryside to experience this car on everyday roads. Well, not everyday roads, beautiful mountain and desert roads just outside of Las Vegas. And the reason they want us to experience this first is to get a chance to enjoy the creature comforts of this car. And I have to tell you that they have done an amazing job of the parameters, meaning on the one side it can be very relaxed and subdued and appeal to traditional Corvette buyers. And what do I mean by traditional Corvette buyers? Well, those guys are now getting older. They don't want a rock hard, jarred kind of car to drive in everyday situations. So you can have it really quite soft and almost luxurious feeling. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you hit the mode button here and you dial it all the way up to track, and then the suspension becomes really quite firm. The shifts are precise, the engine feels alive, and that is when you get ready to take it out and have more fun with it. So a broad spectrum of modes, because Corvette and Chevrolet want to appeal to a broad spectrum of buyers. They have their traditional baby boomer buyer. They're hoping with this car, with this design, with this layout, that this car is now going to appeal to younger buyers, a new generation of Corvette Stingray buyers. So have they achieved that? Absolutely. I have to say, driving now for about an hour, some beautiful roads here, that it's very comfortable. Outward visibility is fantastic. I would say the outward visibility is very close, if not similar, to the NSX from Acura. Big front window, narrow A-pillars, nice big large mirrors, easy to look out the back. There is a bit of a reflection on the back window, but you can get around that because they have a rear view mirror that turns into a wide panoramic view monitor, giving you excellent visibility out the back. Now we are going to the track tomorrow, which is good timing because it only rains in Vegas a handful of days a year. Wouldn't you know it? I come from Vancouver, and what do I get? One of those rainy days. So tomorrow's sunny, warmer, heading to the track in this car. What I want to do now is just pull over and talk about the inside for a little bit, because this definitely merits some discussion. Okay, we'll get to the inside in just a second. Plus, we got to do a little autocross first. But right now, I want to talk to you about the most important package for the new Corvette, and that's the Z51 Track Package. It includes a limited slip differential, performance exhaust, larger brakes, you get a sport-tuned suspension, you also get enhanced cooling, Michelin Pilot 4S summer tires, and a specific axle ratio. It's easy to spot the cars with the Z51 Track Package because it gets a unique front splitter and the rear spoiler. It's a pretty comprehensive package, however, it does not include magnetic ride control. If you want to have that feature, it's an additional package. So the Z51 Performance Package is just under $6,000 Canadian. Pretty good value. Okay, we're at the Autocross, and we had a chance to go around in the blue car for a warm-up, and that does not have the Z51 package on it or magnetic ride control. This red car does have both of those things.
Right, so once you're ready, you're good to go.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to do launch control. We have it in the performance track management system. So full brake, throttle, and lift. And it did rain here last night, so the track is still, or this autocross is still a little bit wet. So what I want to feel is the difference with the magnetic ride control and the ability to sample the road surface up to 1,000 times per second. Amazing technology. The turn-in is amazing. Your position, your driver's position is right in the center gravity of the car. Pretty amazing. full brake. Well, that didn't suck. That was fun. There is a difference. There certainly is a difference. So with the interior design of this new C8, Chevrolet decided to take some chances. They didn't want to have an interior that was like the rest of the General Motors family, and they didn't want an interior that was like the rest of the mid-engine supercar sort of category. What they've done, and probably the most noticeable thing right away, is they flattened the top and bottom of the steering wheel. And at first you look at it and you go, that's odd, but you know what? It actually works. It's flattened on the bottom, making it easier to slide your legs underneath, and the flatter on top so that you have, a view over the dash. That's the one thing about this car is it's got a very low dash, great outward visibility. So that's interesting. And after a while, you forget it's even different. The most noticeable element is this big sort of wall partition between the driver and the passenger. And they made a big point today telling us that this was a driver-centric car. The driver's the person that sort of spent all the money to buy it, so it's all about the driver. So you have a 12-inch instrument cluster behind the steering wheel that's fully digital and programmable, an 8-inch infotainment screen with all the latest connectivity, and then this big wall that runs down here. And the reason that they put all of the HVAC switches here was to free up space and to keep this whole cowl really quite low. Now, it's not bad for the driver. As I mentioned, it's all focused at the driver. But when you're sitting in the passenger seat, it feels a little bit tight. You do kind of get used to it, but that's something that is differentiating this car from everybody else in the industry. It's going to be polarizing. You're going to like it or not. Chevrolet also went to great detail telling us how they used authentic materials on the inside of this vehicle, giving it an upmarket feel considering its relatively low price point. So everything that looks like real leather is real leather. Anything that looks like carbon is carbon. Anything that's aluminum, you guessed it, is aluminum. So they're using real materials and not cutting corners, and it shows. It's a high-quality interior with the latest technology. One thing you might like or not like is the electric shift selector for the transmission. Reminds me kind of Acura's shifter. This was also done to save space and make sure that it didn't encroach on the rest of the cabin. Now, many mid-engine sports cars have very cramped footwells, meaning you can't really stretch out for the passenger or the driver. Not the case with this Corvette. There is plenty of room to stretch your legs out. Nothing encroaches into the footwell. There are 3 different seats: the base sort of comfort seat, the high performance seat for the track, and then one in the middle that looks like the high performance seat but is a little bit more comfortable. Now, one of the things is there's more headroom in this car and there's more pitch to the seat for taller drivers. And apparently there's enough headroom to even get in this car with a helmet. And we're going to the track to try that out now. All right, let's get into what's powering this new Corvette. It's a 6.2 liter, naturally aspirated, V8 engine with 495 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. That's with the performance exhaust. If you don't get the performance exhaust, it shaves 5 horsepower and 5 pound-feet of torque off. And the most noticeable thing to me about this car is the seating position. Because this is a mid-engine car, the seating position has been moved forward. Check this number out. 16.5 inches forward. That means that where I'm sitting is right in the middle of the car for turn-in and the center of gravity. It's really, it feels like you're pivoting right around your body. Now, yesterday on the road, I kind of mentioned that it had this sort of almost luxury feel to it and didn't have enough, maybe, edginess. Well, when you get it on the racetrack, that's when this car really feels dialed in and you have that sort of supercar feel to it. It's amazing. The last time I was here, by the way, was driving the Z06 high performance up the C7. That was a great day, but this is, it's fantastic to be driving something so new, so fresh, so innovative from Chevrolet. You gotta hand it to them. And this transmission is so quick. This in-house 8-speed dual clutch made with General Motors, their own proprietary stuff, is very quick. Now, one of the things they did was made this a great car for tall drivers. I'm 6 feet tall, and I'm wearing a helmet, and I have room even with this helmet on. So that's incredible. So not only does it go fast, drives great on the road, it's big, roomy, and comfortable. There are 3 suspensions really for the Corvette. You want to think of the base suspension as a passive spring and shock. Then you go one up from that, you have the same passive spring and shock, but you have the ability to corner weight each corner. And then up from that is magnetic ride control, the advanced electric dynamic suspension that changes up to 100 times per second. And that's what we have with this car. Now that can be ordered separately. You don't have to get the Z51 Performance Package in order to get that, but most people buy them in combination. And the sports exhaust is the same thing. Most people are going to opt for the sports exhaust to get the better sound and also that extra 5 horsepower bump. Now you really need to think about, if you're in the market for this car, what you're going to buy. The passive standard springs and shocks, the adaptive springs and shocks. Many people are going to want to add the Z51 Performance Package, and then things like magnetic ride control are also options, and you can see how the price can go up. But you do the math on this. Almost 500 horsepower, mid-engine, exotic-looking car from Corvette for a price tag that's under $100,000 is going to be appealing to a lot of people. Car Cost Canada provides the dealer's cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get access to exclusive and powerful savings. The link is in the description below.